Let's be completely honest for a second here. We've all been there, right? You're staring at that blinking cursor on a blank, stark white screen, and you feel that familiar, creeping dread just kind of washing over you as a massive essay deadline approaches. Writing a long-form essay, well, it can feel a lot like staring up at a mountain when you have absolutely zero idea how to climb it. But what if I told you that you already have the exact tools you need to reach the summit? Seriously, welcome to our explainer today. We're going to completely demystify the entire essay writing process, basically breaking it down into a simple, logical science. To pull this off, we are anchoring our explainer directly in some really fantastic academic source material. We're going to be pulling apart a university lecture from Dr. Amaal Al.Farra, specifically focusing on the fundamental parts of an essay. And I gotta say, Dr. Al.Farra breaks the architecture of writing down so clearly that by the time we finish up here, you won't just understand how to build an essay, you're actually going to feel confident doing it. All right, let's dive right in. Just as a really good thesis statement provides a clear roadmap for an entire essay, here is the roadmap for our explainer today. We're going to cover 1. The micro to macro concept, 2. The anatomy of an introduction, 3. Building the body paragraphs, and finally, 4. Crafting the conclusion. Okay, section 1, the micro to macro concept, scaling up. Get ready for a brilliant little aha moment that is going to make writing so much less intimidating for you. Dr. Al.Farra draws a really simple, but honestly profound analogy here. The organization of an entire essay is exactly the same as a single paragraph. It simply scales up. I mean, think about it for a second. A standard paragraph has a topic sentence, right? Well, an essay has an introductory paragraph. A paragraph uses supporting sentences to build its case, while an essay uses entire body paragraphs to do the exact same thing. And finally, just as a paragraph wraps up with a concluding sentence, an essay finishes with a concluding paragraph. So the absolutely crucial point here is this. If you know how to write one solid, structured paragraph, you already possess the structural blueprint to write a 1,000-word essay. You are quite literally just zooming out. Moving on to section 2, anatomy of an introduction, setting the stage. The introduction is the very first thing your reader sees. It sets the entire stage for everything that follows. So let me be clear, it is absolutely never just fluff used to hit a word count. No way. Our source material points out 2 vital jobs your intro must accomplish right out of the gate. First, it has to indicate exactly what the essay will be about. No mysteries, no guessing games here. And second, it needs to attract the reader's attention. Because, let's be real, if you don't hook them right here at the start, they're definitely not sticking around for page 3. A great way to think of your introduction is like a funnel. You want to walk your reader through 3 specific steps, starting really broad and then systematically narrowing things down. Step 1 is making an initial general statement to attract that attention we just talked about, and to explain why the topic is actually important. Step 2 is providing the necessary background information and, crucially, setting the limits of your essay. You really want to tell the reader exactly what bounds you're operating within, just so they know what to expect. And finally, step 3, the absolute narrowest point of that funnel, the thesis statement. We really need to give this term the spotlight it deserves. The thesis statement is the anchor for your entire piece of writing. Seriously, if an idea or a paragraph does not directly support this specific, narrowed-down claim, well, it does not belong in your essay, period. It's basically the ultimate filter for your writing. All right, section 3, building the body paragraphs, the heavy lifting. So if the introduction is our foundation, the body paragraphs are where we do the heavy lifting to construct the actual walls. These are usually the longest part of the essay, and they are solely dedicated to containing the support for that thesis statement you just made. Every single fact, every quote, every piece of analysis, it all lives right here. This is where you are actively defending the claim you made in your introduction. But you might be wondering, how do you actually keep these long body sections organized? Well, you use topic sentences. You can think of a topic sentence as a kind of micro-thesis for each individual paragraph. Dr. Al.Farra notes that this opening sentence should introduce the specific points or subtopics that you are about to unpack. This is so important because it ensures that the reader never ever gets lost in your argument. They should always know exactly what the current paragraph is trying to prove. And to keep those paragraphs from feeling like disconnected, isolated islands, we absolutely need cohesive transitions. Dr. Al.Farra highlights a really vital strategy here, stating, at times, it may be appropriate for the concluding sentence of one paragraph to serve as a bridge to introduce the topic for the next paragraph. By doing this, You're essentially guiding the reader by the hand from one idea to the next, entirely avoiding any sudden or jarring jumps. Which brings us to Section 4, Crafting the Conclusion, the lasting impression. This is basically the roof of our architectural structure. Now, it's a super common mistake to think the concluding paragraph is just some boring, repetitive summary. But actually, scratch that. It is much more than that. This is your absolute last chance to leave a lasting impression. Its primary function is to guarantee total clarity, ensuring that the reader walks away fully understanding the point you spent the whole entire essay making. You're essentially sealing the argument. And you actually have quite a few tools in your toolkit to do this effectively. Depending on the type of essay you're writing, Dr. Al.Farra outlines several great techniques. You might summarize the main points or creatively restate your thesis. But you can also push a bit further. Why not offer a thought-provoking final comment? Or maybe make a prediction about the future based on the research you've done. You could propose a possible solution to a problem you've highlighted, or, if it's appropriate for the specific assignment, clearly state your own final opinion. It's a highly practical toolkit to close out your work powerfully. So there we have it. We've broken it all down, from that micro to macro mindset that really shrinks the task down to a manageable size, to the funnel of the introduction, the sturdy bridged walls of the body paragraphs, and finally, the impactful seal of the conclusion. Writing an essay really isn't magic, it's architecture. So now that you have the architectural blueprint firmly in hand, what will you build with your next essay?